Hello everyone, my name is Jakub Więckowski and I'm one of the co-authors of the paper called Towards the Identification of Markov Models Based on Intuitionistic Fuzzy Score Functions. Our team worked in West Pomeranian University of Technology in Szczecin. And to move on, our paper was about to use 5 different score functions to convert the intuitionistic fuzzy sets. I will use the abbreviations of it, so I will call it later IFS. And those functions were used to create crisp values and assess the decision matrix with one of the MCDA methods named Marcos, and the Marcos stands for measurement, alternatives, and ranking according to the compromise solution. As the input data, we use the randomly generated data, so that's a strict theoretical problem. And then the obtained results were compared by using the correlation coefficients, which I will mention later. And the main purpose of our study was to indicate how the different score functions impact the outcome of the assessment in the multi-criteria ranking. To provide introduction of used methodologies by us, we would like to mention about the definition of the IFS, and to present it, it is worth to mention that it uses the membership and non-membership function degree. And the second important thing is that the IFS assumption is that it also includes the degree of hesitation, which can be computed by the formula given here. And about the used membership and about used scored functions, we can see that the 5 formulas used in the paper is presented here, and they are quite different from each other, so we can expect that the results obtained by using them would also differ. About the Marcos method, it was introduced by the Stevich in 2020, so it's quite new method. As I said, it is one of the methods belongs to the multi-criteria decision-making group method, and the main assumption is to use the anti-ideal and ideal solution to the to receive the final outcome of the method, and to receive the preferences of alternatives. And the full description is provided in the paper, and there you can find the subsequent steps of the method with formulas to use in each step. As I said, we used 2 correlation coefficients. The first one is weighted Spearman correlation coefficients, and the second one is WS ranking similarity coefficient. And those 2 were used to assess the similarity of the obtained rankings. The randomly generated data consists of 6 alternatives and 4 criteria, and the data was between 0 and 1. And each element of the decision matrix was represented as IFS. So we can see it right there. There's presented the decision matrix, which we use in the paper. And the first one presented is the membership degree, and the second one after the comma is the non-membership degree for each criteria. And there we can see the crisp decision matrix obtained by the S1 score function, and all the others decision matrices obtained by other score functions are presented in the paper, but I can mention that because of different formulas that they are using, these matrices differed from each other. And there we can see the preferences obtained by using the Marcos method for subsequent score functions. And we can also see here that the assessment differs from one another when we compare the used score functions. So as we can see it here, where the visualization presents the positional rankings for each score function, we can see that the rankings have not significant differences between subsequent positions. And here we present the heat maps of the obtained correlation coefficients. And as we can see, there are some noticeable differences between the rankings obtained by different score functions. And as we can see, for example, when we compare the S3 score function with the S5 score function and using the RW coefficient, the value was minus 0.94. So the two obtained rankings are very, very different. And the next example we want to discuss is it considered quite bigger dimensionality of problem because it was 20 alternatives and 6 criteria. And as we can see it here, for different score functions used in the study, the rankings also differ between used score functions. And as we can see, the differences between subsequent positions can be very, very high, because for alternative 10, we can see that for score function 2 and 3, the position was second, but when we use 4 score function, the position was 18. So it's a big discrepancy between those positions. However, when we use the correlation coefficient, we can see that the results similarity are higher than in the previous case. So we can conclude that bigger dimensionality of problems could provide higher results similarity. But we wanted to generalize those results, and we used 1,000 simulations to assess the impact of used score function on the results. So we decided to use the WS rank similarity coefficient to determine the results consistency. And as we can see, the figure presents the comparison of rankings obtained by S2 score function with other functions, and we can see that this S2 provides highly similar results with S3 and S5, and it was nearly 1.0. So yeah, the results are highly similar when we compare those functions. And the other comparisons are presented in the paper. So if you're interested how those score functions behave with bigger problems, yeah, so you can check it right there. And here we present the statistical values of the performed assessment, and we can see that those values differed by when we compare different score functions. So to move on and to provide the conclusions from our research, yeah, we want to address the evaluation of Macros method by using 5 different score functions, and we saw that the S1 and S3 functions should be preferred in decision making because they provide a high distinction of individual values between them, and in the smaller problem. But however, in the bigger problem and with 1,000 iterations, we can saw that S2, S3, and S5 proved to be most coherent techniques between the used group of the score functions. And in general, those score functions provided highly similar results. However, this research could be extended with more practical approach used in the assessment. So yeah, that's the main future work, and I think that the results could be slightly different because yeah, we used there a theoretical problem, but in the real case the data could vary more, so the results could be quite different, and that's the interesting part of this study. So I think that we would focus on it and provide new research about it in the near future. And thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Okay, I will stop share my presentation right now.
Thank you, Jakub. Do you have any questions from the audience?
Kuba, I have a question. I'm wondering about the fuzzy environment. There are so many fuzzy extensions exist, like triangular, easy triangular, trapezoidal fuzzy number, and so on, spherical, bispherical, and so on. What's the reason of selection of the research environment in the term on intuitive fuzzy sets? Why this extension of fuzzy theory? Please explain.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that, yeah, as you said, there are a lot of fuzzy extensions which can be used in the research. However, we decided to use the IFS because it reflects well the uncertainty in the real case scenario. So as we can model the membership and non-membership degree and the hesitant degree, and I think it reflects well the human being. So as you are concerned about a problem, it is possible that in some cases you wouldn't be able to describe the values in the crisp with a crisp number. So yeah, you can use a fuzzy extension like IFS to provide a description where you are not sure about the strict value in the problem.
Thank you. That's okay for me.
Thank you. Eva, do you have a question?
No, I have no question.
Okay, thank you. So I have actually a question regarding with the performance with the increasing number of criteria. So one of my area of expertise is multi-objective optimization. So I can see how the multi-criteria optimization can be parallel here. So how would it behave if instead of having 6, you'll have 100 or even 1,000 criteria? How would that eventually perform in terms of the ranking? Would it kind of converge to all solutions are statistically similar, or it's still there will be ways of figuring this out?
Okay, that's a quite interesting question. To be fair, we didn't track the behavior of this approach with such a big problem, dimensionality. However, I think that, as you mentioned about 100 criteria, I think that the differences between those core functions would be smaller as we receive the final rankings. However, we should check it in the maybe theoretical or real case scenario with such dimensionality to have calculations on it and to be sure that this works as it expected. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.